Welcome into Pressbox and Pressbox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressboxOnline.com. And what company has the experience and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus-free? Well, that would be AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com. Our guest today is Buck Davidson, one of the riders in the Maryland 5-Star Classic that is just about to start. We're on the precipice of having that in its third iteration. Let me just tell you before we start talking to Buck that now's the time to place your postseason baseball bets, your regular season college football bets, and pro football bets, all at Superbook. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code StanCharles23 to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code StanCharles23. All one word with no spaces. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And welcoming in now an old friend. When I say old friend, it means we had him on this Zoom a couple of years ago, right in front of the first ever Maryland 5-Star event up at Fair Hills. And he is noted rider, champion rider, Buck Davidson. Buck, thank you for joining us again.
Happy to do it, Stan. No problem.
I hope we bring you as much luck this time around as we brought Boyd Martin last time around. Tell us a little bit about the horse you're going to ride. Is it Sacramento?
Yeah, close. Sorokema. Yeah, he's
Sorokema.
Sorokema. Yep. He's an American thoroughbred. He actually raced over 60 times on the flat racing tracks. He was in Tampa Bay for a little while.
Okay.
At Tampa Downs, and then he went to Presque Isle. And yeah, he did Fair Hill last year. And, was good there. And, hopefully the cross country is a little bit more difficult this year. And he's a year stronger, and a year more educated. And I like my chances.
How frequent is that a happening where a horse will go from a thoroughbred, will go from riding, doing thoroughbred racing, and then they try him at eventing? Because it seems like that would be be almost like if you tried to teach me at 35 years of age, tried to teach me Spanish or Hungarian or something like that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, it's my horse is an exceptional horse. He's he's very well bred for racing, so he's got a amount of class that sort of holds him in good stead for whatever he does. He's got a great brain. The sport has gotten so demanding, and the level has gotten so high that the horses are actually, most of them are purpose bred. But if you can get, sort of an old fashioned thoroughbred, a little bit bigger, stronger boned horse, that generally horses that are made for the turf seem to be better event horses. So it's not always an easy thing to do. But the one thing is that they can do is they can gallop. And, they tend to like the cross country, and the dressage and the show jumping is always a bit of a work in progress. But, my horse is, hopefully he's an exception, and, hopefully he can show everybody that it can be done this weekend.
That's what I was alluding to, the teaching a racehorse, a thoroughbred racehorse. It's one thing to teach him cross country because he's used to just running and he likes it. It's a little bit of a change to do the jumps, I'm sure, but doing the ballet on the first day or two of dressage and then the show jumping, how difficult is that to retrain a horse? And is it retraining them physically or retraining their brain a little bit?
Each horse is an individual. They're a little bit different. The balance of the racehorse would be a little bit more challenging to do the dressage or the ballet the first day, and the show jumping the third day. And so getting him to be able to sit down and be able to push and hold his balance and be able to, um, lift his front end up, is always a little bit more difficult with a thoroughbred horse. But mine is, exceptionally well built. He's a beautiful animal, and his brain is second to none. And one thing about the thoroughbred racehorses, they're very literal and they will do what you tell them to do. The problem is if you're not very clear, they can go off track quickly. And so this horse has risen up the levels very, very quickly, and has been very successful along the way. So, if you can have a good thoroughbred horse, there's nothing better. And, I think I have one.
Well, Buck, in eventing, a lot of times I don't see this in horse racing where I'll see a jockey own a horse. You are a rider and an owner, so
Yep.
I'm assuming that you had something to do with sort of the purchase of this horse and taking him over, along with your co-owner. Who made the first step? Who found this horse? And then was it a process of a bidding like an auction, or you just bought the horse and saw if he could make the changeover?
No, a friend of mine that was on the '96 Olympic team called me and said that their student had this horse, but they were just going low level, and they didn't want the student to take it up higher level because they didn't think they could handle him.
Okay.
And she said that this horse would be perfect for me, and she was very kind and brought the horse down to me. I was in Florida at the time, and I tried him, and he didn't know very much, but but he's a beautiful looking animal, and he seemed to be willing, and so I sort of took her advice and trusted her, and I actually bought him myself,
Okay.
and my co-owner and one of my great friends, Carl Siegel, owns part of him, and I told Carl about what we call sort of came a Cam. I told him about Cam when I first got him, and he said, "Did I want a partner?" And I said that I just wanted to make sure that the horse was as good as I thought he was, and I didn't want to feel like I was ripping off my best friend. And and so he did a 3-star. He did a couple of 4-stars, and he was doing his first 5-star in Kentucky. And I called Carl and I said, I think he's good enough if you wanna go in with me. And yeah, so he's been a very fun horse, a fairly successful horse, and I'm really hoping that he can shine this weekend.
In this type of racing or eventing, have you been running him in three-star events or something to get him, and how long a process has been building him up to this type of world-class event at this level?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's 12 now. I bought him as he was just coming 9, and he was only going training level, which isn't on the star spectrum yet. But he quickly progressed through the levels, and like I said, within 6 months he'd done a 3-star, and within a year he'd already done 2 4-stars, both in the top 10, and so now this is his second. Yeah, he did Fair Hill last year. So this will be his 4th 5-star this fall. So he was a little bit green and a little bit inexperienced last year, but he again, the cross country was fantastic, and the show jumping he was much better, and so I really hope that we've improved the first phase substantially, and he's much more confident on the 3rd day. And if we can keep the second day just as good, we need a little bit of luck to win, but be disappointed not to be in the top 5 probably.
Well, Buck, how much of it at this point is the horse, or is it on you to bring it out of the horse?
Yeah, I mean, the sort of general thought is it's sort of 60% rider, 40% horse. And obviously, if you have an exceptional horse, you can have a little bit less than exceptional rider. And if you have an exceptional rider, you can maybe have a little bit less horse. But generally, it's about 60-40. In eventing, different than racing. I mean, racing is if you've got the fastest horse, you've got a pretty good chance of winning. There's so many different variables, so many different phases to our competition that that the rider, and the rider is also the everyday trainer, and so to build them up to that level takes years and years, and so you'd even say sometimes 70-30 to the rider. So I'm a little older than some of the guys now, even, and I have a little bit more experience, and so I was able to bring a horse like this up quicker. And but now I think he's at the level. He's certainly confirmed at the level numerous times, and so now we can start to put the polish on things and shine things up and see if we can't really press for the top placings.
Now, when you say we're going to see if we can do that, how much in advance? This thing is starting on Thursday the 19th.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the finishing touches being the couple days before, or is it the couple weeks before?
Well, I mean, it literally started a couple years ago, and
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, you're putting the finishing touches and the polish on the final warm up just before you sort of have your dress rehearsal, if you will. In the last couple days, and you're just trying to get that 1/10 of 1%, and finding that little bit of something that shows off a little bit better, or has them operating that little bit more with you, and so you're always trying to fine tune things, even as we're going on the day. You're a little bit like a NASCAR driver. You're changing air pressures and different
Yep.
things to changing studs, changing the tack, just trying to get that little bit extra according to the conditions or what's going on out there. So you're always tinkering with things and trying to make them better.
One more question about the horse. Would you know if the horse didn't like doing this, or clearly the fact that he is succeeding, progressing, he's enjoying himself?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, Stan. These horses are 1,200 pounds, and I don't care how strong you are, you can't lift them up and throw them over the jumps. So, if they don't want to do it, they're not doing it. And if they don't want to do it, they're not getting to this level. I mean,
Okay.
these horses they are taken care of like professional athletes. They are, nothing's missed. They have 24-hour room service and maid service, and these horses have absolutely everything they ever wanted. And they become expensive animals, and
Yeah.
they but they love it, and they're just as much of the competitor as we are. And the horses that get to, I mean, Maryland 5-star is one of the few 5-stars in the world. If you have a horse that can get to that level, they have to like it, and they have to be competitors, because if you're not a competitor, it's very easy to give up.
I was going to ask you a couple more questions about eventing, and ask you a bit more about the 7 races around the world, or events, when we continue. I will tell you first, I want to tell you a little bit about this race, or the event coming up, the Maryland 5-star. If you want to know anything about it, go to their website, www.maryland5star.us. If you're interested in buying tickets, /tickets after .us. That's where you can find out everything about the Maryland 5-star coming up on its 3rd iteration up there in Cecil County at Fair Hills. And it is Thursday and Friday, dressage, which is sort of like horse ballet. Saturday, the most amazing day out there, is the cross country. And then on Sunday, it finishes up with the show jumping. So again, that website, www.maryland5star, the number 5star.us/tickets, if you're interested in going for the first time. Buck, I was going to ask you one question about when I first got familiar with this, when Terry Hazeltine and Jeff Newman got me involved with doing some Zooms, and they're doing some marketing with us, and I started to educate myself on this. When I heard there's only 7 of these in the world, my mind went a little bit to Triple Crown and regular thoroughbred racing. And those races are separated by a few weeks apart. These are obviously, I'm guessing this is a much more grueling thing on the animals to go through an eventing at this level. Am I right?
Yes, I mean certainly a horse would only do 2 5 stars in a year,
In
and
a
so
year.
yes, so they would do one generally in the spring, and then one in the fall, and so there's Kentucky in April, and then there's Babington in England the next weekend. So those horses you would not use the
That's
same
what
horse.
that's what I was going to ask you about. It struck me as odd because I see it starts in Adelaide in Australia in
Yep.
August 20th to 23rd this year. And then just 4 days later, it's in Kentucky. So there'd never be the thought that somebody's going to win a big eventing and go to the next race.
Well, you can, and that's where the world rankings and stuff like that. You have to have multiple horses. So
Yeah.
so yes, certainly. I've certainly ridden at Kentucky and then gotten on a plane and rode at Babington in England the following weekend.
But
Yeah, I mean,
that's the rider, not the same horse.
that's correct, exactly. So
Okay.
the horses would just generally do, if you can do two in a year,
2 year.
that's
Okay.
fantastic. Yep.
All right. It's really fascinating to me because I thought of it in terms of regular horse racing that, boy, they're going to get these horses ready. And I thought they'd be spaced further apart to that
Right.
end, but you've answered my question. Tell me a little bit about what is the hardest thing for you. You've been doing this for years. Do you still, I won't say dread the dressage, but is dressage harder for you, or by now all three things, the show jumping, cross country, and dressage, are kind of all equally you're adept at them?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for my whole life. I'm 47 now, so
Right.
a lot of it is obviously horse dependent, right? Like, if the last couple of years I've had a horse that was very, very good in the dressage, and so with that particular horse, I wasn't working on the dressage as much. I was working on the other two phases. With the horse that I have this year, the cross country is sort of his strong suit. And so I've been working more on the dressage and the show jumping, and so that's what makes it a unique sport. I think that the riders at this 5 star level are pretty proficient in all three phases. But it it is each horse. And again, mine's more of a thoroughbred horse, so I would have to work less on the fitness stuff and the cross country than a horse that was maybe really good in the dressage, but maybe didn't quite have the stamina or the endurance that a thoroughbred horse might have, and they would then work more on the cross country and the galloping. And so, I think most of us got into the sport of eventing because of the cross country, right? That's the only phase that we can't do by itself. There's pure dressage and there's pure show jumping. So most of us got into it because of the cross country. But if you want to be successful, you have to be good in all three phases.
As owner and rider, would you ride a horse? Would you enter a horse if you didn't think he could be in the top 5?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these horses, unlike thoroughbred race horses or the horses in the Triple Crown, these horses can go on until they're 20 years old. And
Okay.
so it takes, it's a little bit more like, professional, baseball player or football player, you can get better as you go. Right. And so, because you're the number one draft pick in the NFL, you doesn't mean you're going to go to win the Super Bowl the first year, but you don't just give up because you didn't, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, there's longevity here, and so part of it is building them up in their body, physically and mentally, to be able to perform at the highest level. And quite frankly, you have to go and fail before and learn how to win, so yeah, you'd like to think that you were going to go every time and win, but that's unrealistic. And the horses have a much greater lifespan at this. And, and sometimes the conditions aren't such that you feel that it's in the best interest of the horse to really try to win that weekend. And, but usually when you get up, to Fair Hill, the course is, immaculately put together and groomed. And so no matter whether it's, not rained for a month or it's raining for a month, the conditions should be good. So, you sort of like to have a cut at it.
Just a couple more questions. We're talking with Buck Davidson, legendary eventing rider, and he'll be here at Fair Hill this week for the Maryland 5-Star event. And my last couple of questions for you, Buck, are really about this event. When you heard there was going to be an attempt to bring this event here, a 5-star event here, what did you think? Did you think it was possible? Did you end up talking to officials there and realize what track how they were going to create this new cross country track course? I mean,
Yeah, so I'm originally from Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia.
That's what I thought. Yep.
So small town called Unionville, which is only about 30 minutes from Fair Hill. So I'm very familiar with Fair Hill. And they used to have a 4-star there before. And so we were well aware of the capabilities of the Fair Hill site. And it's as good as there is anywhere in the world. And then the state got behind it. And, a lot of private donors got behind it. And I have a lot of people that are on my team, so to speak, that got behind it. And so, they asked me to come and look at the place and, give my 2 cents and all that kind of stuff. So I've sort of been in the background a little bit of seeing the whole thing come to fruition, but it's, no doubt it's as good a place as there is anywhere in the world to do this. And, the state of Maryland and Baltimore in particular is sort of synonymous with horses. And, Cecil County, obviously the Fair Hill Training Center and right across the street. And it's a horse mecca. And, so if any place could pull it off, it was going to be Fair Hill, and they've done an amazing job.
I'm not asking you to quantify economically dollars and cents, but how much does this mean to the horse industry in the state to have this event here?
It's huge. It's, I don't know what the financial ramifications are. I know I'm on the board at the Florida Horse Park in Florida, and it's the state gets behind it because it brings in, they call it people in beds or something like that, or heads in beds.
Heads in beds, people.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got you.
And the economic kick to the towns and the cities and around is tremendous. Whether it's the hotels, it's restaurants, it's car dealerships or truck dealerships, it's real
all
estate.
Of that stuff. It's
people
all
wanting to come to the area, and it's a tremendous boost for the economy of Cecil County, and I think you're seeing the fruits of that around not just Fair Hill, but around the area around it. It's all growing bigger and better, and the real estate's becoming more valuable, and it's a huge thing for not only Cecil County but the state of Maryland, and honestly eastern Pennsylvania as well, and Maryland Mid-Atlantic region. But look at all the people coming from all around the world. People are actually moving from Europe and coming to America because of this, and it's going on TV all around the world. And horses are something that people are still learning about in this country, but in other countries it's a big deal, and Maryland is on everybody's radar.
Buck, you mentioned before that Fair Hill can do it as well as anywhere in the world. If I went to Adelaide, or I went to Badminton, or Burghley, is the course the cross country, does it look exactly the same?
No, not even close. No, I've never been to Adelaide. That's one of the 5 stars I've not been to. But Burghley in Badminton, Kentucky, Pau in France, Lemulin, all completely have their own deal. All different. The only thing is that's the same is the dimensions of the jumps, but they. Burghley is unbelievably hilly. Fair Hill is obviously unbelievably hilly. Lemulin and Pau, Lemulin's in Germany, Pau in France, unbelievably flat. And so you have all kinds of different questions and different fences that are put in front of the riders. But Fair Hill is a little bit more like a Burley, where it's very natural rolling hills, and it's probably a truer and tougher cross country test than some of the 5 stars around the world.
I really appreciate your time, and I hope this Zoom brings you to luck this time around that we brought the Boyd Martin. You were on with us the first year as well. I hope we bring you some luck with again, your horse is Sorokama.
There you go.
Sorakama?
Sorokama. Yep.
Sorokama. All right.
Yep.
Good luck with
right.
him. And
right.
we'll look forward to seeing you out there this week. Okay.
Thank you, Stan.
All right. Buck Davidson joins us. If you'll hang with me, just not Buck, but if you listeners, viewers will hang with us just another minute or two. Just wanted to tell you again, www.maryland5star.us/tickets is the website where you can get all the information that you need about the course, the events out here, the shopping and the eating. The dining is second to none. It's really a world-class event, and it's coming in your backyard this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, the dressage on Thursday and Friday, cross country on Saturday. And if you have one day to go, that would be my suggestion to you, is to go on cross country day and then show jumping on Sunday the 22nd. We thank Buck Davidson for joining us. I'll just tell you about the Costas Inn, and Buck, you can sign off. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay with me. I appreciate it. Just wanted to tell people about who sponsors this. It's the Costas Inn, and the Costas Inn is located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Again, on our baseball Zoom this week, we talked about how Luke, Ross, and I finally got to hook up together to have a meal at the Costas Inn. We did it last Monday. It was really phenomenal. Ross and his family had the steamed crabs. They were really meaty, even though they were just larges. They weren't extra larges, but they had a delicious 4 of them, split 18 crabs, and it was plenty for them. What did I have? I had the pork chops, and Luke had the crab cake. They've got specials every weeknight, Monday through Friday. That's the Costas Inn, located 4100 North Point Boulevard. And they've only been there for about 52 years. So they must be doing an awful lot of things right. Check out the Costas Inn. You won't regret it. We'll be back. We'll be back a little bit later on in the week with another one of these Zooms, where Thursday we'll be talking to Mike Gibbons of the Babe Ruth Museum, also a fellow member on the nominating committee of the Maryland State Athletic Hall of Fame. Our banquet, our yearly banquet, our Hall of Fame banquet, is the 9th of November. We look forward to seeing a lot of you out there. We've got a great class coming in, including Adrian Dantley, Scott Garceau, Dominique Dawes, and several others that we'll be telling you about Thursday night with Mike Gibbons. That's it for me for now.